As a mechanic who spent years turning wrenches and seeing what actually holds up, I can tell you that most SUVs are designed to feel new for about 5 years and then start falling apart. But there's a select group that defies the odds SUVs with engines so overbuilt and durable that they routinely hit 300,000 miles and keep going. These aren't the flashiest or most tech-heavy models, but they're the ones I'd trust with my own money because they're engineered for longevity rather than just marketing hype. At the top of the list is the Toyota Land Cruiser, the undisputed king of unkillable SUVs. Its 4.7-liter or 5.7-liter V8 engines are notoriously over-engineered, with components built to handle extreme abuse in the world's harshest environments. I've seen Land Cruisers with over 400,000 miles come through the shop still running smoothly on their original engine and transmission. What makes them special is the conservative tuning Toyota deliberately holds back horsepower to reduce internal stress, which means lower operating temperatures and less wear over time. Even the older 1FZ Phi inline 6 from the 80 series is famous for its cast iron block and timing chain design, often surpassing 300,000 miles with basic maintenance. Next up is the Toyota 4Runner, especially models with the 4.0-liter V6 1GR Phi. This engine uses a timing chain instead of a belt, eliminating a common failure point, and its cast iron block and aluminum head construction make it incredibly tough. I've personally worked on 4Runners that have been beaten on trails and used as daily drivers, yet they keep coming back for nothing more than oil changes and brake pads. The first generation 4Runners from the 1980s with the 22RE 4-cylinder are legendary one reportedly clocked over 4 million miles before needing major work. That's the kind of durability that earns a vehicle a permanent spot in any mechanic's recommendation list. The Lexus GX 460 deserves a mention because it shares the Land Cruiser's Dina but adds luxury without sacrificing durability. Its 6-liter V8 1UR Phi is derived from Toyota's heavy-duty truck engines and features a forged steel crankshaft and timing chain design that rarely needs attention. I've seen GX models cross 300,000 miles with little more than routine fluid changes, and the body-on-frame construction means they handle towing and off-road use without twisting or cracking. The 7-liter V8 in older GX 470s is equally bulletproof. Many owners report trouble-free operation well past 250,000 miles. For something more affordable, the Toyota Sequoia with the 5.7-liter iForce V8 3UR Phi is a hidden gem. It's essentially a Land Cruiser in a more practical package, and its engine is known to last 300,000 to 400,000 miles with consistent maintenance. The Sequoia doesn't have the luxury badge, but under the hood, it's just as stout as its more expensive siblings. I've seen fleet vehicles and family haulers alike reach astronomical mileage numbers without major engine work, proving that Toyota's full-size V8s are among the most reliable ever built. If you want something smaller, the Honda KR-V with the 2.4-liter K24 4-cylinder is a standout. The K-Series engines are legendary in the mechanic community for their simplicity and durability, often exceeding 250,000 miles with minimal issues. One 2007 CR-V reportedly reached nearly 1 million miles on its original powertrain, which is a testament to how well engineered these engines are. The early 2000s models are particularly reliable because they avoid the turbocharger-related problems found in newer designs. Just keep an eye on the VivTech solenoid gasket, which can leak over time, and these little SUVs will outlast almost anything else on the road. The Toyota RAV4, especially the hybrid models, has also proven itself to be incredibly durable. The 5-liter 4-cylinder hybrid powertrain in the 2019 present models has been pushed past 450,000 miles by some owners, which is remarkable for a relatively new vehicle. The hybrid system itself is famously reliable, and the lack of a traditional transmission with complex wear items means fewer things to break. If you want modern efficiency without sacrificing longevity, the RAV4 Hybrid is a smart choice. Finally, the Ford Expedition with the 4.6-liter V8 from the late 1990s and early 2000s deserves recognition. While not Japanese, this engine is known for its durability in police and fleet use, with some examples exceeding 450,000 miles. The 5.4-liter V8 in the same generation is more problematic, so stick with the 4.6 if you're looking for a used one. The newer 3.5-liter EcoBoost engines are powerful, but they're more complex and haven't proven their long-term reliability yet. I'd stick with the older, simpler V8s for maximum longevity. So, if you're in the market for an SUV that will genuinely last, focus on these models: Toyota Land Cruiser, 4Runner, Sequoia, Lexus GX, Honda Kia-V, Toyota RAV4, and the older Ford Expedition with the 4.6 V8. They're not the cheapest to buy used, but when you consider the cost of repairs on lesser vehicles, they're actually the best value out there. Which of these surprised you most? Drop a comment below, and if you found this breakdown useful, make sure to subscribe for more No B's advice from someone who actually works on these things every day. Continuing from where we left off, let's dive deeper into each of these unkillable SUVs and explore what makes their engines truly bulletproof, along with specific model years to target and avoid. Starting with the Toyota Land Cruiser, the 200 series models 2008-2021 with the 5.7-liter 3UR Phi V8 are particularly noteworthy. This engine features a forged steel crankshaft, powder-forged connecting rods, and a cast aluminum block with cast iron cylinder liners that resist wear even under heavy loads. The cooling system is massively overbuilt, which means the engine rarely overheats even when towing at maximum capacity in desert conditions. One of my regular customers has a 2013 Land Cruiser with 387,000 miles on the original engine and transmission, and the only major repair he's ever needed was a starter replacement at 320,000 miles, and that's because the starter is located under the intake manifold, which is a design flaw, but the engine itself remains flawless. The 100 series 1998-2007 with the 4.7-liter 2UZ Phi V8 is equally legendary. And I've personally rebuilt transmissions on these, but rarely had to touch the engines themselves. The timing belt is the only weak point on the 2UZ Phi, requiring replacement every 90,000 miles, but if you stay on top of that, these engines will easily outlast the vehicle's body and frame. Moving to the Toyota 4Runner, the 5th generation models 2010 with the 0-liter 1GR Phi V6 have proven themselves to be nearly indestructible. Unlike many modern engines that use direct injection and high-pressure fuel systems that clog and fail, the 1GR Phi uses port injection, which keeps intake valves clean and reduces carbon buildup. The timing chain is rated for the life of the engine, and the cast iron cylinder liners are thick enough to withstand multiple rebuilds if needed. However, there's a specific issue with the 2003-2009 4Runners equipped with the V8. The 4.7-liter 2UZ Phi in these models had a problem with the exhaust manifold bolts snapping due to heat cycling, which is a costly repair. But if you find one that's already been fixed or isn't making ticking noises on cold starts, it's still a fantastic choice. The 4Runners engines are so reliable that I've seen them used in marine applications and industrial equipment, which should tell you something about their durability. The Lexus GX 460 and its predecessor, the GX 470, share the same DINA as the Land Cruiser Prado sold internationally. The 4.6-liter 1UR Phi in the GX 460 is a masterpiece of engineering, featuring a forged steel crankshaft, molybdenum-coated pistons, and a cooling system that maintains consistent temperatures even when the vehicle is fully loaded. The cylinder block is made from high-strength aluminum with cast iron sleeves, and the engine management system is tuned conservatively to prevent detonation and pre-ignition. I've had GX460s come through my shop with over 250,000 miles, showing compression numbers that are still within factory specifications. The only common issue I've encountered is a valley plate coolant leak on the 2010-2013 models, which is expensive to fix, but not catastrophic if caught early. If you can find a 2014 or newer model, Toyota updated the design to eliminate this problem entirely. The earlier GX470 with the 4.7-liter V8 is equally reliable, though it does have the timing belt maintenance requirement every 90,000 miles. Now, the Toyota Sequoia often gets overlooked because it's seen as a less prestigious alternative to the Land Cruiser, but that's a mistake. The first generation Sequoia 2001-2007 with the 4.7-liter V8 shares the same engine as the Land Cruiser and Tundra, and I've personally worked on several that have crossed 400,000 miles. The second generation models, 2008-22 with the 5.7-liter V8, are even more impressive, and I've encountered a 2011 Sequoia with 335,000 miles that still had smooth idle and no oil consumption. The frame rust issues that plagued early Tundras and Sequoias have been addressed with the second generation, but if you're looking at older models, always inspect the frame behind the front wheels and under the rear cargo area for rust perforation. The engine itself, however, is a tank. The 3UR V8 uses a 6-bolt main bearing design that's normally reserved for heavy-duty diesel engines, which tells you how seriously Toyota took durability when designing this power plant. Switching to something smaller, the Honda Car-V is a favorite among my customers who want 300,000 miles without breaking the bank. The 2.4-liter K24Z engine in the third generation 2007-2011 and fourth generation 2012-2016 CR-Vs is legendary for its simplicity. It features an open-deck aluminum block with iron cylinder liners, a counter-rotating balance shaft system for smooth operation, and Honda's iVTEC system that provides excellent fuel efficiency without sacrificing power. The timing chain rarely needs replacement, and the engine's cast in place iron liners resist wear exceptionally well. I recently had a customer with a 2008 Kia V that hit 340,000 miles, and the only reason it came in was for a worn valve cover gasket. The engine itself was still producing strong compression across all 4 cylinders. That said, avoid the 2015-2016 Kia V models with the 1.5-liter turbo engine because they've been plagued with oil dilution problems and fuel contamination issues that can kill the engine prematurely. Stick with the naturally aspirated 2.4-liter and you'll have a vehicle that essentially runs forever with basic maintenance. The Toyota RAV4 has earned its reputation for reliability, especially the hybrid models starting from 2016. The 2.5-liter A25A FX's engine in the RAV4 hybrid uses Toyota's dynamic force technology, which combines direct and port injection to minimize carbon buildup while maximizing efficiency. The engine is paired with Toyota's hybrid synergy drive, which uses 2 electric motors and a planetary gear set instead of a traditional transmission. This eliminates the most common failure point in modern vehicles. The hybrid system also reduces engine load by assisting with acceleration and regenerative braking, which means the internal combustion engine operates in its most efficient range for most of its life. One of my customers drives a 2019 RAV4 hybrid for a rideshare company and has put 285,000 miles on it in just 4 years. The vehicle has required nothing beyond routine maintenance, and the battery still tests at over 80% capacity. The non-hybrid RAV4 with the 2.5-liter engine is also reliable, but the CV transmission in some models can be problematic, so the hybrid is actually the more durable option in the long run. Now let's talk about the Ford Expedition, which might surprise some people because American vehicles aren't always known for longevity. The first generation Expedition 1997-2002 with the 4.6-liter modular V8 is the one to seek out. This engine has a cast iron block, aluminum heads, and a 2-valve per cylinder design that's simple and proven. It shares components with the Mustang and F-150, which means parts are cheap and widely available. I've personally rebuilt several of these engines after 300,000 miles, and the cylinder bores are typically still within specification. Just a fresh set of piston rings and bearings is enough to get another 300,000 miles out of them. The 4-liter V8 in the same generation is the engine to avoid because it had issues with spark plug ejection and timing chain tensioner failure, which can lead to catastrophic engine damage. For the second generation Expedition 2003-2006, the 5.4-liter was the only option, so I'd skip those entirely unless you're prepared for potential engine work. The third generation 2007-2017 offered the 4-liter and later the 3.5-liter EcoBoost, but neither has the proven track record of the older 4.6-liter. If you want a Ford that will last 300,000 miles, hunt for a 1997-2002 Expedition with the 4.6 V8, ideally one that's been well maintained and isn't suffering from frame rust. Beyond these 8 SUVs, there are a few honorable mentions worth considering. The Nissan Armada and its Infiniti QX56 QX80 cousin with the 5.6-liter VK56 V8 are remarkably durable, with a cast iron block and forged internals that handle high mileage well. However, the transmission in these vehicles is a weak point, and failing to change the fluid regularly can lead to costly repairs before the engine ever shows signs of wear. The Subaru Forester with the 2.5-liter non-turbo engine is also known for longevity, but head gasket issues on older models and CVT problems on newer ones make it a riskier bet than the Toyota and Honda offerings. The Mitsubishi Outlander with the 2.4-liter engine is surprisingly reliable, but parts availability can be an issue, and the CVT in some models is notoriously fragile. And of course, the Lexus LX is essentially the Land Cruiser with luxury trim, so it shares all the same durability characteristics. If you can afford one, it's an excellent choice. When you're actually shopping for one of these vehicles, there are critical maintenance points to look for that separate a 300,000-mile survivor from a 150,000-mile failure. For all the Toyota V8 engines, the timing belt service on the 2UZ Phi engines should be documented. If the previous owner can't prove it was done, budget for it immediately after purchase. For the Ford 4.6-liter, check for oil leaks from the valve covers and the rear main seal, which are common but relatively inexpensive fixes. For the Honda K series engines, listen for a timing chain rattle on cold starts, which indicates worn tensioner guides, and check for VTEC solenoid operation during test drives. The engine should feel noticeably more powerful, above 5,000 RPM, when VTEC engages. For the RAV4 hybrid, inspect the hybrid battery cooling fan filter located behind the rear passenger seat. A clogged filter can cause battery overheating and premature degradation, but it's a simple preventive maintenance item that many owners overlook. The fluid changes on these engines are non-negotiable if you want them to hit 300,000 miles. I recommend full synthetic oil changes every 5,000 miles, not the 10,000 mile intervals that manufacturers claim, because oil is cheap compared to engine rebuilds. Transmission fluid should be drained and refilled every 30,000 miles. Regardless of what the manufacturer says about lifetime fluids, lifetime means the life of the transmission, which is considerably shorter when you don't maintain it. Coolant flushes every 50,000 miles prevent corrosion and scale buildup that can block radiator passages and cause overheating. And the differential and transfer case fluids on 4WD models should be changed every 30,000 miles if you do any towing or off-roading,